for your patience.
Thank you very much. I'll just introduce myself. Oh, am I good to go? Yeah. I'll just introduce myself. My name is Ann Lindsay. I'm a senior manager with KPMG's Public Sector Advisory Practice. And I have my colleague, Matt McLean, here as well. He's a senior consultant. And we've both been working on this project. Our partner, Bruce Peaver, sends his regrets. He is on a canoe trip with his kids right now, so vacation. So what we're going to do today is walk you through the findings from our service delivery review portion of the scope of work we've done, and also transition into getting your kind of feedback and final input onto the strategic plan. And you'll see as I move through the presentation how the findings from the service delivery review and the recommendations from those really have supported the development of the strategic actions for the strategic plan. So as far as the project overview goes, we started in October, actually, with the project initiation. And in the fall, we did the strategic plan consultations and development with council. And then we moved into the municipal service delivery assessment. And then over the last few months, we've developed the opportunities and the recommendations coming out of that work. And right now, we are in the final phase, which is the draft final report and presentation. And I think it's important to note, so we're in the draft final stages of both the service delivery review and the strategic plan. And this is an opportunity for us to be able to seek your feedback. We will be circulating a detailed service delivery review report and the strategic plan documents after the council meeting this week. You'll have it in your inboxes within the next few days. So you'll have all of the detail. We are going to be summarizing our recommendations through the purposes of this report. So there are some things that are kept high level, but you will receive the details of our recommendations through the delivery of the report. Okay. So our service delivery review opportunities. So through the service delivery review, we identified really 6 major strategic opportunities. And these are those high-level recommendations that are tied to the overall vision, strategy, and delivery of town services. So these opportunities connect directly to the strategic plan and the strategic plan action items. And then we also identified 10 operational level opportunities. And these are very sort of operational based recommendations for ways to adjust processes and procedures. So we're not going to be spending a lot of time on that today. We're going to stay focused on the strategic. So to summarize our strategic opportunities, the first one was adopting financial policies and principles. So we did identify through the review that the financial planning processes require further development, particularly in the auditing, reporting, and budgeting processes. The current backlog in financial reporting is making it difficult from a budgeting perspective and really to have that clear line of sight into the financial health of the organization. So one of our recommendations is really to improve financial sustainability and work on prioritizing and really defining those processes that will get, timely annual audits completed and also address the backlog of the financial information returns that are submitted to the province. This, in addition to some robust financial policies, will certainly align with municipal best practices and have ADHOC really improve that kind of fiscal responsibility as you move forward into the future. And you can see we've mapped every one of these recommendations to one of the categories in the strategic plan. So this one is mapped to the town administration category, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Establish KPIs for town departments, so key performance indicators. So through our current state assessment, we did identify that there's room for improvement in cross-departmental communication within the town, and lacking clarity around performance accountabilities that have the opportunity, if in place, to really improve that organizational efficiency and effectiveness. So our recommendations for this opportunity are really to establish senior leadership team meetings that happen regularly to try and bridge that departmental silos and improve collaboration, as well as to ensure alignment on the goals of service delivery, have a performance management framework that would include measurable key performance indicators or targets for all of the departments. And this opportunity is also mapped to the town administration goal in the strategic plan. Our third opportunity is develop and implement a public communications approach. So through the current state review, we did identify that the lacking proactive strategy around public communication and citizen complaint resolution is currently a challenge for the town. And there's certainly an opportunity to improve public transparency and community engagement through developing a proactive communication strategy. And that strategy really should include, raising awareness of the town's initiatives and heritage and showcasing, the town's administrative staff efforts and successes, not only as a means to just communicate what's happening, but also to really feature the good work that the town does. As well as part of this communications approach, establishing a formal complaint management process to address citizens' concerns is another one of our recommendations. So this will improve that transparency, but also set clear performance standards or service standards for timely responses to inquiries and really go to enhance that community trust. Our fourth opportunity was conduct an infrastructure assessment and develop a prioritization plan. So there's been a lot of good work around this already through the development of the asset management plan. And we understand that council recognizes that the infrastructure needs of the municipality certainly right now outweigh the funding capacity to be able to address all of the infrastructure needs that the town has. So this infrastructure assessment and prioritization plan is really important because what it'll do is help you prioritize the infrastructure that needs repair with a set criteria of how to do that. Prioritizing public health and safety, adherence to regulations and provincial standards, for example. And that will really help kind of put a plan in place so you can take the infrastructure deficit that you have and really tackle it piece by piece. So that is tied to the strategic plan infrastructure objective as well. And our fifth opportunity is optimizing the organizational structure of the town and formalizing succession planning. So the town has a very lean organizational structure, and this creates potential gaps in leadership roles if key people choose to depart the organization or retire. So having an effective succession plan in place is really important to kind of minimize the risk of losing that kind of corporate knowledge when key individuals move on from the organization. As well, we've recommended outsourcing some human resource functions, such as recruitment and staffing, employee benefits, training and development, and HR policy development. And this would allow the incoming deputy clerk role to really focus on those clerk responsibilities and administrative duties that'll align presumably to that incumbent's skill set. We're also recommending transferring facility maintenance responsibilities from community service over to the Public Works Department. Facility maintenance in particular. So this will create efficiencies that can improve responsiveness to any facility maintenance issue that arises and really align to where that expertise lies within the organization. And then as well, the formal succession planning opportunity. So you want to ensure continuity in service delivery regardless of personnel changes. So formalizing that kind of succession planning as a priority will help mitigate that risk for the town moving forward. And so this opportunity aligns to the town administration strategic plan objective. And then our final opportunity coming out of the service delivery review at the strategic level. So keep in mind, these are the higher level opportunities. We do have operational ones as well, but is a recommendation to strengthen the community partnerships to support economic development. So our current state review revealed that there's an opportunity to collaborate more with local community groups and certainly to position the town as a leader in driving economic development efforts. So we'd like to see, a renewed sort of leadership role or investment in partnering with ADHOC and economic development to promote that economic growth and focus on supporting local entrepreneurship and really leveraging local groups and various platforms to kind of increase that visibility for ADHOC's economic development efforts, attract visitors, create job opportunities. So this is a collaborative approach we're recommending that does establish the town as the leader, but also as a collaborative partner with other local community organizations. So this opportunity maps to the strategic plan objective of economic development. And now I'm going to move into the strategic plan and kind of pull those strategic opportunities through so you can see how they support really the action plan development of how you move forward with this new strategic plan that you've adopted or that you will adopt. So these strategic directions were finalized by council during that second phase of work in, I believe, October to December. 5 strategic directions were identified. So this is just kind of a refresher for everybody to orient you to the strategic plan. So infrastructure being a priority, investing and modernizing in the town's infrastructure. Housing was also a strategic priority, improving housing availability and accessibility. Economic development, fostering a vibrant and diverse economy of the town. And then town administration, an effective and efficient town hall. And finally, community pride, so creating a strong sense of community pride. So these were the 5 strategic directions that were put together by council through the collaborative sessions that we had in the fall of 2024. And now I'm just going to dive into them in a little bit more detail. And we're happy to take comments or questions either at the end or as we go through each item. So the first one, infrastructure. Invest and modernize in the town's infrastructure. What kind of outcomes would this produce for the town? Will it improve infrastructure quality, identify sustainable funding sources, collaborative regional partnerships? So really the key indicator of success here is having that long-term plan, either for funding reserves to support your infrastructure needs, as well as prioritizing your infrastructure needs. So as I mentioned before, the town's done a lot of great work in this area already. And I think really just putting it all together in a clear, actionable plan that outlines, key funding sources, timelines, specific projects, as well as ranking that infrastructure need based on urgency, condition assessment, associated costs, will help council prioritize where to invest in infrastructure moving forward. So there is an existing asset management plan. We're recommending building condition assessments be kind of fed into that asset management plan to really provide a fulsome picture of the infrastructure, as well as pulling in roads condition assessments as well, which I believe have already been completed. So this is just a proactive way to putting a plan on paper to say, we can't do everything all at once, but this is what we need to do today. So this is a sample infrastructure needs prioritization framework. So what it does is it really identifies the various criteria that can be used to prioritize infrastructure investment. And really the key ones are risk to service delivery, So what is the likelihood or consequence of failure that would impact the town's services? Health and safety, which I mentioned earlier, any impacts to the public safety or risk to public safety, regulatory or legal compliance, and asset condition. So those would be the priority items in how to prioritize what needs to be done and how to direct the limited amount of capital that you have available for all of the infrastructure needs that you do have. I'm going to pass it over to Matt to go over the next few.
I don't believe we're able to make it bigger on this screen. Moving into the housing side, so as Anne mentioned, the second strategic direction is to improve housing availability and accessibility. So when we're looking at outcomes, that includes increased housing stock, improved housing affordability, and more diverse housing options. And some indicators are the affordability index, diversity in housing types. So for strategic initiatives for this strategic direction, we're looking at first conducting a housing needs assessment. So this will really give the town a fulsome understanding of the current housing market, specific gaps in not only the availability, but also the accessibility of various demographics. And this includes that housing needs assessment, and then a presentation to council really for that next step in the strategic planning and the development. Then we'd be looking to explore opportunities for the diversification of the housing stock. So based on that housing needs assessment, really looking at zoning and development process to ensure it's favorable for diversified housing and to attract development, and then looking to get the official plan updated and really identify those areas for future residential developments. Our next strategic direction is that economic development. So again, fostering a vibrant and diverse economy. So we're looking at developing a stronger home base and local business sector, increased commercial investment in ADHOC, as well as leveraging existing regional opportunities. So in terms of strategic initiatives, as Anne mentioned, strengthening those community partnerships to support economic development. So you'll have greater collaboration and line of sight across the economic development initiatives in the community. So some deliverables could be the CAO or a CAO delegate attending ADHOC Economic Development Corporation board meetings, or having a standing monthly report from the Economic Development Corporation to Town Council. And then in partnership with a corporation, really looking to develop an economic strategy to leverage increased investment and population related to future opportunities in the region. So you'd be looking to create a clear strategy for local economic growth, increase local employment and workforce readiness, and then looking to attract businesses that work in collaboration with those future opportunities. So this could be through identifying joint pilot initiatives, seeking funding and grants collaboratively with FedNor to support infrastructure programming and capacity building, and then formalizing those collaborations through agreements or MOUs to guide those long-term governance and roles. And then the fourth strategic initiative, that efficient and effective town hall. So we're looking for well-managed operations, engaged and committed staff, and then transparent service levels. So again, those initiatives, the first being adopting financial policies and principles. So we're looking to align the town with leading practices in municipal finance and ensuring the town service delivery remains consistent and reliable for the community. So again, we're looking to address outstanding financial reporting, develop and adopt a core set of financial principles and policies, streamlining the current budgeting process, and then providing additional financial management training to key staff. So this may include interpreting financial statements, asset planning, and policy application, just to help further streamline that budgeting process. Next, as Anne mentioned, establishing those KPIs. So we're really looking to develop a common understanding and expectation among citizens and staff on service levels, then improve communication, improve citizen satisfaction, and then greater transparency and accountability against those service levels. So some of those milestones, again, regular department head meetings led by the CAO to really identify those shared service goals, developing and implementing that KPI framework, and then embedding KPI discussions throughout monthly meetings and recognizing performance improvements. Then finally, we're looking at the optimizing organizational structure and formalizing the succession planning, really looking to increase the clarity of roles and address human resources and communications functions. So we're reviewing the feasibility of transferring facilities maintenance over to the Public Works Department, developing that formal succession planning framework, and then implementing the cross-training and the mentorship opportunities to help prepare certain staff for those advancement opportunities, really setting and formalizing that succession planning. So this next slide is just a sample of some of the leading financial policies and principles within the municipal space. So some of the examples include sustainability, so reviewing your reserve position, so that's total reserves and reserve funds by household. So low reserves are really indicative of limited capacity to deal with increased costs as well as unexpected asset or infrastructure costs. We're also looking at debt management, so reviewing kind of annual debt repayment and setting specific maximums, maybe 10%. So all of these are really set to review and continue monitoring the town's sustainability, flexibility, and vulnerability in terms of the financial position. And this next slide really shows some sample key performance indicators that could be used. So the real value in KPIs, however, is developing them collaboratively with both staff and council, as well as senior leadership, to ensure that they're feasible, they're manageable by staff, and they're an appropriate target to meet citizens and the council's expectations. So this is simply just a sample set, but we really encourage kind of further collaboration with town staff and senior leadership in the development of these key performance indicators. Pass it back to Anne.
So the last strategic initiative is strategic direction number 5, which is creating a strong sense of community pride. So the outcomes from this strategic direction will be increased community engagement, improved community pride, a stronger local identity. So there's a number of different indicators that you could measure, attendance at community events, community satisfaction surveys or resident satisfaction surveys, local community group engagement. And the strategic initiative or action item that we're recommending to support community pride is really tied to that public communications approach, seeing that proactive public communication strategy to increase community awareness by showcasing the efforts of town staff, highlighting special events, celebrating ADHOC's history through targeted marketing, social media campaigns. So there's a number of action items tied to this. Certainly a community engagement plan that identifies how and when the town will engage residents. So will it be public meetings? Will you use digital social media channels? Will you seek project-specific input for various initiatives the town takes on through surveys, as an example? And then implementing a complaint or inquiry management system to log and track and respond to resident complaints consistently and transparency. So there could be potential that systems you already have in place have this capability. So we would just recommend that you investigate that as a way to just really put a structured process around how you're responding to community inquiries and resident complaints. And then in addition to that, just establishing those service standards in regards to staff response timelines to residents. A best practice would be, probably within 48 hours of response, but it's certainly dependent on the town and council collaboration, just like Matt said, around what's an appropriate and realistic key performance indicator to put in place. So that summarizes where we're at with the strategic plan and how the results from the service delivery review really are feeding into the action items that will guide the strategic plan for the town over the next few years. So as far as next steps go, so by Friday, we're going to deliver that detailed service delivery review report. I realized the slides were difficult to read as we went through our presentation. We did a lot of summary slides here, but we are going to be providing you with the detailed report that you'll have a chance to review. And then we're also going to be distributing the draft strategic plan for council review and feedback. So that is that last section that we presented with the 5 strategic directions and then the action items that are associated with them. So we're going to circulate both of those reports to you by the end of the week through your CAO or the clerk. And then we ask that council review and provide feedback by July 18th. So that'll allow us to incorporate your feedback into finalizing the strategic plan portion of the work and then delivering the final strategic plan for July 28th. So I'll pause there and I'll open the floor for comments or questions in regards to the strategic planning items that we've identified.
Councillor Stimson.
I think I have more of a request, and I'm not sure if the request is for the town or if it's for KPMG. But next time, could we have a printed copy, please? I tried to go over there and have a look, and I could not read it. I'm about 6 feet away. I like to have something in front of me that I can follow, and this time I had nothing to follow, so that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stimson. As KPMG representatives have said, we'll be getting a copy to review. That should help. Councillor Shine? Councillor Shine, did you have a question?
Thank you, Chair Lyons. I guess my question is for Jason and the rest of the administrative staff. When do we start working on this? To make sure that we're not just receiving a document, it's going to sit on the shelf, we're not going to do nothing. 5 years down the road, we're going to do another review. When are we going to start working on this?
Yeah, so
as a group, as a whole, not just you and you.
Right. It is a long-term plan and process, right? And we knew that through the strategic review, there were short-term and long-term goals, and then as part of the service delivery review, more operationally, how we can look at, these things won't happen overnight. Absolutely not. We will look at what we can deal with short-term and long-term. So it'll be a living document that we kind of continually work at and see what recommendations in there will work right away. Certainly not all of them, right? I mean, this is a long-term thing. So it'll be a document that we're going to use and we'll incorporate into our operations.
Is it just going to be you and your administrative staff, or are you going to include council as well?
Well, it's a combination, right? So, I mean, operationally, that'll be more administration, obviously, but we will tie it into the strategic plan objectives, which are where council obviously wants to be, right? I mean, the strategic plan was directly for council, and then trying to merge that into the service delivery review, and that's the operational stuff for council, or for staff, is to trying to find the right balance, I guess. So it's a combination, really.
Okay.
Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Lyons. I have a request too. The information that you're going to be sending us, is it going to be hard copied?
The town could provide a hard
Through
copy.
email, but we can print it out for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, certainly.
I find that more convenient.
Yep. No, we can do that.
Thank you.
Councillor Knowles.
There it goes. Thank you, Chair Lyons. So you've identified a number of KPIs in the roadmap. You guys have extensive experience dealing with a number of municipalities and establishing and holding these administration to those KPIs. Is it possible, just because I think around this table we're maybe less familiar with figuring out how to track those and hold either accountability or track progress, just maybe some best practices or other things that we might be able to look out for just figuring out, okay, well, you said we're going to do this, we've done this, or we haven't done this. How do we move forward with it? Just to help clarify for us. Thanks.
For your worship. That's a great question and a great suggestion. So what we can do is we've included sample KPIs. We did consider certainly the size of the municipality and the breadth of the operation when we created those sample KPIs. But what we can also do is put in like how to measure, how to track, that gives you kind of that action plan for how to move forward. So we'll include that when we deliver the report.
Any other questions or comments? Mayor Ferguson.
Thank you, Chair Lyons. Kind of along the lines of what Councillor Shine and Councillor Knoll said, I think once we get this plan, we receive the final plan, then, you know, come maybe September, we actually hold a special meeting to see what our direction is going to be on this. You know, I always hate the we'll get it as soon as possible. I think part of this plan is to say where we're going to have dates, and we make a plan, and then we have a follow-up. But I think it's not something we can do at a council meeting in a half an hour. I think we're going to have to sit down. We paid for this information. We should use this information, and I think we have to take the time to put the time into making sure that we're using this.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. CAO Young.
Yeah, to build on that, I think that the whole point of this project was to try and find new ways of tracking these things and having those conversations. I know historically we've done different annual reviews and you know, CAO updates and stuff like that. So what I'm hoping is that we can get we can build on what's being presented here to use as part of, you know, whether it be quarterly or you know, biannually or something like that. Absolutely, our intention is to use the framework that KPMG has recommended for us to be able to start those conversations and use them to help us kind of track, you know, operations, I guess.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason.
Any further questions? Seeing that there's none, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you coming here and the work that you've done so far.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, moving on with our agenda. Administration and Employee Relations, Strong Mayor Powers Overview. Clerk Bates.
Thank you, Chair Lyons. Council has a report regarding the Strong Mayor Powers. It's a lengthy report, but it gave us much information as I thought that I could. I'm still learning the process too, so if anyone has any questions, they can ask, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them.
Councillor Simpson.
I forgot last time, but thank you, Chair Lyons. I don't want Mayor Ferguson taking this the wrong way, but did anybody see the emails from that, what's her name, Paula something, about the townships that have signed petitions to get that strong mayor power taken away and not used anymore? There's quite a few of them that have. I'm not saying that in ADHOC, and I know for a fact it wouldn't be used the wrong way. I guess it's the bigger cities that they're worried about. But to me, it takes away the democratic purpose of councils. Like I wasn't elected, but the other people here were elected by the people to be their voice. And I seen on one thing there that if a mayor wanted to bring a bylaw to council, all he would need is 1/3 of the council to approve it. And that he could also veto a bylaw if it seems to go against whatever Doug Ford intended this for, like building new houses or infrastructure and stuff. I just think that the town councils come on here and they're doing what they think is best for the town, and in most cases the mayor agrees. you know, we all have the same thing we're fighting for here. But I just wonder, this strong mayor powers, I just don't really understand what the purpose is for it. I don't really see a need for it, but if we're gonna keep it, I'm not worried about it in Atikokan, that's for sure. But just the democratic part of things. That's all I think it takes away from the whole purpose of having an election. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stimson. Bates.
In response to the email that Paula had sent, that's on the council agenda under other business today. Also, legislation's not going to change, so we will have strong mayor powers forever. No matter what we do to oppose, if you want, they're not going to change the legislation, so this is how it's going to be, unfortunately.
I kind of figured that. Thank you.
Councillor Shine.
Thank you, Chair Lyons. Even though the legislation may not change, that doesn't mean we have to use it. Correct? Am I interpreting that the right way?
Correct, but that's up to the mayor.
Right. But as the mayor, we all got elected with the mayor. That was the whole purpose of having elections. If we're not going to abide by what the citizens want, and only, then we might as well just elect a mayor to work with the CAO and the rest of the administration staff, as far as I'm concerned, because we're supposed to be working as a whole, which we always try to do.
Thank you, Councillor Shine. Councillor Stimson.
Yeah, just one thing. A democracy, it's usually 50 plus 1, not 1/3, 33%.
Thank you. Mayor Ferguson.
Maybe I can speak to this because we seem to be talking about me in my position. I never asked for strong mayor's powers. I was never offered strong mayor's powers. It was put forward by the province with councils, and I think Clerk Bates did a very good job outlining this. It was put forward to municipalities with 6 councillors. So if you want to get rid of strong mayor powers, we can make a decision to go down to 4 councillors, and then the mayor wouldn't have strong mayor's powers. So that is an option for council. If they want to do that in the next election, we can reduce it to 4 councillors, and then the mayor wouldn't have strong mayor's powers. It sounds like there's a lot of power, and people joke, and you know, when you know, I'm the deputy, or I'm the acting mayor, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and that's not how it works. Okay, there's a very specific protocol on how to use strong mayor powers, and it is to move legislation forward, and it has to follow the priorities of the province. So it's not an open playbook to do whatever somebody wants. There is opportunities for someone for a mayor to hire or dismiss certain staff. There is a very long list of staff that they can't do anything about. So if you're thinking that's something that can happen, and it has happened in other municipalities, I don't know the circumstances, but that's nothing that we're going to make a knee-jerk reaction. So this is the information. There's other websites that you can look at it, and it gives you more information on it. As Clerk Bates said, this was brought by the province, and you know, you can write a letter or whatever, make a resolution, but it's not going to change the province's mind on this. I don't intend to use strong mayor powers arbitrarily, and this is the information, so I don't know what else we can talk about.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. CAO Young.
I think just a word of caution to council as well. If council wants to reduce the size of council, I would caution you to do that only because of the strong mayor powers, because if I had to guess, I believe the province is kind of on track to provide strong mayor powers to all municipalities. I don't know that, but I mean, just the way that it has rolled out as quickly as it has, I would assume that at some point that may change as well. In regards to the report, I agree with the mayor that the clerk has done a great job of laying out the quite complex powers that have been bestowed through the province. I think, if I can speak on behalf of administration, it doesn't change how we conduct our businesses. As administration, we will bring to all of council information as we always have, and the decisions are made. The relationship with the mayor hasn't changed. It will continue on the way it has. And to his point, I think, it'll be business as usual for us, just with the understanding that these options are available to him as he sees fit. Thank you.
Thank you, CAO Young. Councillor Stimson.
Thank you, Chair Lyons. Where did we get to the point where we're talking about reducing the councils? I just, that kind of boggles my mind here. I don't know. I said I think it takes away the democratic part of it, and all of a sudden, and I told Mayor Ferguson I don't think he's going to do anything dumb with it or anything like that. Then all of a sudden now we're saying, well, if you want to reduce the council to 4, so no. Now right now 3 and 3, the mayor gets to vote if that's a tie. 2 and 2, the mayor gets to vote if it's a tie. Why did that somehow get down to reducing council? Like, what difference is it, 4 or 3, other than cost, or 4 or 6 other than cost? I'm lost. Mayor Ferguson, maybe you could.
Through the chair, if we want to get rid of strong, I said that is an opportunity, that is a path. If we were sabotaging democracy by having strong mayor's powers, if he felt strongly enough about that, that is an avenue that council could take. I'm not recommending, I'm not saying we should do it. I think 6 and 1 is a good checks and balances, works good. I've seen municipalities in other areas where it's 4 and 1, where the mayor has consensus from 2 councillors and they do whatever they want, basically. So I think, not to say that wouldn't happen with 6 and 1, but it does provide more oversight through more councillors to get a majority. So I didn't mean to reduce council. I just said if we felt strongly enough that we wanted to abolish strong mayor powers, that would be, right now, that would be the only direction that council could take to do it.
Thank you for the clarification, Mayor Ferguson. Any other questions on? Okay, seeing that there's none, let's move on to finance. The financial period ending May 31st, 2025. Treasurer Coulson.
Okay, you all have the financials there. If there's any questions, I will point out the current year budget line in there obviously isn't the budget because we don't have one, but I had to input one of our preliminaries to try and do some reports. So if there's any questions about any lines.
Mayor Ferguson.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair, I'd like to ask Brandy, and I think you mentioned this before, the first line in expenditures is titled suspense.
That's the.
I have a lot of, you've got my suspense raised, so.
That's the prior year surplus deficit.
Prior year surplus deficit.
Yeah.
And the 2.9 is surplus.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Treasurer Coulson? Okay, seeing as there's none, Let's move on to Rexall lease extension agreement. CAO Young?
Yep, so we've been, we have extended the lease for Rexall several times. This is no different. The lease is not expected to lapse until the fall, but they like to have their ducks in a row a bit early. So as last year, this is a three-year extension. There's an opportunity for them to end the lease with sufficient notice, should they so desire. Other than that, there's the annual 2% increase in their base rent, and nothing else different than the previous requests.
Thank you, CAO Young. Any questions or comments regarding the lease agreement?
I have a question.
Yeah, Ferguson.
Through the chair, I'd like to ask Jason, so they have a 30-day window where they can get out. Do we have the same?
No,
We have 30 days where we could ask them to leave?
no. When it was first brought up and they wanted it added, it was just because they were in the process or are in the process of looking at moving. Council was very receptive to them expanding their business. Therefore, council at the time did grant that 30-day request. There was no real indication for the town. Now, having said that, if the town was interested in canceling the lease, there are options there. But the 30-day was granted to them at their request for their side.
Okay, thank you. I kind of knew that answer, but I thought I had.
Any other questions? Councillor Knowles?
You can lift it right out, I think. There you go.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, thank you, Councillor Lyons. What are the next steps? Is there a resolution at the next council meeting regarding this, or what are the next steps? Is this an in-house piece that's dealt with internally, or?
No, added to the council meeting for approval.
Okay, thank you. I will declare conflict of interest then when that time is appropriate. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing as there's none, let's move along to other business. Council meeting dates, July and August. Clerk Bates?
Thank you, Chair Lyons. We have to pick dates for council meetings in July and August. Jason would like to speak to that.
Just no, you had noticed in KPMG's presentation, we had talked about having their final strategic plan for July 28th. We were thinking that might be a good time for the council meeting for the summer. So leave it towards the end of the month, gives us an opportunity to get some stuff together, and giving KPMG the time they need to finalize the report. So the suggestion for July, or the recommendation from administration, is July 28th, but obviously you guys are open to other dates.
Thoughts or comments? Councillor Shine?
Yes, are you only planning, are we thinking we only want one meeting a month, or we have a lot of things that are going on within the municipality? Shouldn't we still be doing two, and that would be a special meeting?
So historically, July and August have always been one meeting per month, and because we do the combined committee of the whole council, Clerk Bates, we would still do that process, or would it be, so it would still be a committee of the whole and a council, one meeting in July and one in August. Our recommendation is to continue with that.
Okay, just so long as we're not rushing through the KMG thing, and because we're strapped for time and we want to be out of here in a timely manner, just because it's summer. I don't want to have to be rushing through these meetings.
We can always call a special meeting of council, which again we are doing this week, in fact. So we have no problem calling special meetings of council when needed. But that's why we picked near the end of the month, so we have the opportunity to get all the agenda items, so that we'll have a fulsome meeting at the end of the month. And if I could continue, and same with August. We know August is a busy time for everyone. And we were thinking that the end of the month would be also a good time, which I believe is August 25th. Yeah, so we are also recommending August 25th. Gets us away from the mayor and I traveling to AMO and other community events. So again, thinking that the end of the month would be better to have a committee of the whole and council meeting on August 25th.
Thoughts or feedback from council?
Good to go.
Good to go.
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. And other business, Waasigan Money Ad Hoc Committee. Councillor Knowles, Mayor Ferguson.
I'll speak to this if it's okay. And so a few months ago, we discussed the generous donation from Hydro One of $250,000 to the town of ADHOC for community projects. We agreed that we would strike an ad hoc committee, and Councillor Lyons and Councillor Knowles and myself met once. We've had email discussions, and what I really wanted to bring this to council is we had two projects that we are very proud of and very committed to, and we would like to get council's approval to move forward. There's grant money available. There's a lot of things to move forward. There's a lot of things to move forward on, and I didn't want to do any of that if council was going to be opposed to the projects. So the two projects were a splash pad for the community. We're looking at an area by the library. We've had discussions with the library, and they're willing to help us to participate in this. I think it would be a great place, or we thought it would be a good place for the splash pad. There's a lot of pros, a lot of good things for putting it there. And the second project was the green space by the RBC Bank. We would like to put a permanent plumbed hot or water, sewer, handicap accessible washroom on that site, and also clean it up, put some picnic areas, maybe even a stage, maybe renovating or fixing up the downtown area in that on Main Street. In some discussions I had, there's opportunity for us to do that, and I think Main Street can use some sprucing up. We've had some of the business owners are stepping up and fixing up their buildings, and there's been organizations that are making it more appealing. We appreciate that, and I think the town, there's an opportunity to dovetail on that with the public space as well as work on Main Street. So the money that we were looking at spending would not cost any money to the taxpayers. There would be zero hit to the budget, and we will be looking for some provincial funding, and if there was other local businesses or other businesses that wanted to participate in doing this, we could stretch out and do even more with it. So what we're really looking forward to, if I'm not speaking out of line, is that we get council's blessing to proceed with the splash pad and the green space.
Councillor Shine.
Yes, thank you, Chair Lyons. I'd like to ask Councillor Lyons and Councillor Knowles, since Mayor Ferguson spoke to this, what made you decide to go with these specific projects? Were these the only ones that came forward?
Councillor Knowles, I'll let you go ahead.
Sure, I'd love to. So yeah, I mean, I've been involved in economic development for a long time, and can see some of the projects that are available, some of the funding that's out there. So there's a number of projects that are worthy of implementation. It's a question of what's able to be implemented now, what might yield the greatest result for the community. And we have seen in recent times, a real request from the citizens for projects such as this that help keep and attract new families to the community and beautify the community. So it certainly wasn't the only projects that we were looking at, but once you start kind of going through them, certain ones kind of rise to the top. And when you have a certain amount of money available, that's really the decision process for myself. So I'll leave it to you, Councillor Lyons.
Thank you, Councillor Knowles. If I may, I concur with what Councillor Knowles had said. There were a number of projects, but really what it came down to was the criteria that the funding could be used for, and really listening to the citizens of ADHOC on what their wants and needs are for the community. So that's kind of what brought these specific projects forward to the top of the list. Councillor Stimson.
Thank you, Chair Lyons. I do want to commend the three of you. This splash pad thing, that's something that I tried to get a long time ago, and there was no funding for it or nothing. And this is going to be great for parents with little kids, little ones, you know, and it's a long time coming, and it's going to be here now, and that is great. And as far as the toilets go, there's no place in town that a person can go to the washroom now. Every store's got no public washrooms road on it, and so unless you want to sneak behind the bank or something, you're kind of hooped. So I'm just glad to see something like this is going to be happening too. And you guys did a good job, and I think you should be commended on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Stimson. Councillor Shine.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Lyons. Kudos to you for making this decision. My next question would be probably directed at Jason. So are we going to be removing that spot from I'll call it the for sale area?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess preemptively, one of my questions was, you'd mentioned a stage. My concern, because I haven't seen any designs or drawings, but my concern is the green space next. So this is I think it's a 35-foot lot.
Very narrow.
Very long, very narrow. My only caution would be is if you were thinking of a stage or something like that, is to understand that the green space next to it might at some point not be a green space, right? If there was a business or something to go there. So that would be my only caution regarding the design of that piece of property. If council does move forward and say that yes, they want to have a permanent structure on there, then obviously as part of that process, we would have to remove that property from our surplus list and then just declare it a piece of town property. Yeah.
Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Lyons. I totally agree with both them projects. I think they're both great ideas. But to be the devil in the ointment, maintenance of the splash pad, will that fall upon the township?
I would think so.
Mayor Ferguson.
So there's very little, there's maintenance if something gets broken or damaged. I've been in Dryden, I've been in contact with, they have a splash pad that's very, very simple. It does a community of probably at least double our population. The way it works is when you have hours of operation, it's not a 24/7 thing. So there's an hours of operation, and in discussions with the library, would coincide with the library hours. Because the library has public washrooms, anybody that's using it could use the public washrooms. So it's basically, you turn a tap on at 11 o'clock, and if it closes at 7, you shut the tap off. It doesn't run constantly. There's a button you push, and it runs for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. If nobody pushes the button again, then it just shuts off till the next person comes. There'd be a drainage. We looked at the property. There's sewer and water available right on Burns Street, I guess it is. Yeah, on Burns Street, there's sewer and water available. So, you know, there is probably some minimal, there may be some garbage to take out. There may be, but It's water that runs on a cement pad into a drain.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. CAO Young.
Further comments, I think if council is interested in pursuing this, then the next step would be certainly town administration taking a closer look at the infrastructure. I know that piece of property also houses the workers' monument, so that would have to be potentially relocated. There's a bunch of trees there, so we would have to look at maybe, a survey to say how big, what would be able to do, the tying into the infrastructure obviously is another issue. So I think that there's questions that still need to be answered as far as design goes, and I think that would probably be built into the project so that if there was funding, that we could have someone come in and do those designs. We don't know what sort of problems are there yet, so I think what we're looking for today is, I guess, is, like, as you said, direction from all of council to say, is this a project that we want to pursue? And then in that regard, I would ask our librarian, Tracy, to provide some information on some of the programs that are happening at the library and the successes with the outdoor programming. That I think is probably why the location was also included, if I could put you on the spot. Grab her microphone.
Thanks, Jason. Yes, for the last 2 summers, we have been partnering with some of our community agencies, including Métis Nation of Ontario and the Northwest Child and Family Services Métis. And we've been running what we call our Summer Splash Series. We were seeing probably 20 to 25 people coming out every Wednesday morning, but the older kids were wanting something different. So last year we opened it up. We were seeing from 11 till 3, we were seeing anywhere from 40 to 60 people coming. We had a mini splash pad out there that we put up ourselves. We had sprinkler systems. We had a water slide that was donated by a community member. We ended up having to buy another one. We put out water pools. We put out balloon tosses. And that's just one outdoor activity. There's plenty of programming that goes on outside. And I think that we have the location and we have the people coming. And as all of you have recognized, there has been a cry for a splash pad for a number of years. So we're in a central location and we're more than happy to work with you and put something forward if we can.
Thank you. Councillor Shine.
Thank you, Chair Lyons. One question, Jason, when you're looking at the infrastructure also at the library, are you going to be looking at the infrastructure uptown to make sure it's up to date for what we need to be able to put in the porta potty? Like what's underneath, is it in adequate shape?
So again, I think with the splash pad, the public outdoor washrooms would be the same thing. So if we were directed to investigate that, then the next step would be to figure out where the best hookup is. We don't have those answers yet because we haven't really looked into it. So I think once we get clear direction from council, we can start that work to see.
Councillor Knowles.
Thank you, Councillor Lancel. First time. So yeah, just to follow up on Jason's comments, I think because this money does have a timeline attached to it, we don't want to be sitting on it. We understand that site assessments, doing your Class C estimates and drawings are going to take some time. We just want to get moving on this in the right direction and allow administration to be able to make those calls and be able to do the next steps that are necessary. So just try to move things forward with it. So it's really where things are now. Thank you.
Councillor Knowles. Councillor Stimson.
Thank you, Chair Lyons. Jason, do we own the property next to that property that we're thinking of the thing, or does that still belong to somebody else?
On Main Street?
Yeah.
The space is privately owned.
Privately owned, okay. And the second thing, I hope this doesn't put a dampening on thing, but do we have to have any kind of liability for a splash pad? We're not going to do anything intricate where there's going to be 6 inches of water in it, and
with any new venture for the town, I mean, we have to consult our insurance agency, make sure there's proper insurance on there.
As long as we don't have stuff like monkey bars and all that stuff in the water, we shouldn't have to have monstrous liability, but if some little fella decides to fall face down in the water, we better have something.
We will make sure that there's appropriate insurance if we go down that road.
and nobody there without parents, I guess, things like that.
Chair Lyons, if I could, no, there isn't, it's not a puddle of 6 inches of water. It's a cement pad where the water flows, sprinkler systems, water guns, dumps a bucket of water on people. The drain comes and all the water's, it's wet, it's not, there's no standing
Like a
water.
pool, not like a pool. Okay, great, awesome. Hard to wait to see that.
CAO Young.
Further to Councillor Knoll's comment, my only concern is that I think you had alluded to additional funding or grants to stretch out the donation dollars. We would have to be careful not to do too much work prior to the acceptance of any grant, as you know, right? Because sometimes funders don't like when you've already kind of, so it'll be a tight timeline as far as making sure that it's all done before the end of the Waasigan project, making sure that we don't do too much before the grant applications are submitted and hopefully approved, and then, like you said, to get the work done.
Councillor Stimson.
Yeah, one more thing after Chair Lyons, after Jason was talking. Remember at NOMA, there was 2 groups that had splash pad stuff? Well, one group said that they would write the grants for people if they wanted to try and get something.
Yeah, as part of the procurement policy, right? We have to make sure.
Then you have to deal with them, I guess, if they get the grant, yeah, okay. But I just thought let you know on that.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Maybe,
So, Chair Lyons, sorry, I was just looking if we have consensus from council to start this work, then we can start making phone calls and talking to people right away.
maybe we could get a show of hands
Yeah.
on whether we approve
In
these
favor?
projects.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
And one last thing, we didn't, looking at what we're going to do, it wasn't all of this money either. It wasn't all going on these 2 projects. There will be money left over for other things that we want to look at. The money has to be spent by the time the Waasigan power line is in operation, which is 28, 29, 19, or 2028. So we do have some time, but the money has to be spent before the line is in operation, so there will be some, not some.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. And with that, I'd like to adjourn this meeting at 5:43 p.m. And we'll take a 10-minute break.